Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to the 1960s in colour, life in America, and yeah, I've done a lot of these before and they're just fascinating. I don't know why I've just got into this rabbit hole, but yeah, I find these videos fascinating, and yeah, here's another one. But yeah, the 1960s in the US. If you were someone who grew up in this era, whether it's in the US or wherever else it was, yeah, how much do you miss it? And also, after this video, like I've reacted to this video, let me know your thoughts and if it missed something out or if it nailed it on pretty well. But yeah, we're going to check this out. Hopefully going to enjoy. Links are in the description to my Patreon as well if you want to see some of my reactions that I can't post to YouTube. But let's see how it was in these times, because again, I don't know a lot about this decade, and yeah, we're going to see.
For many families, the 1960s were an amazing time, despite the turbulence of the decade.
When he says turbulence, is he on about because there was like, you've got the Vietnam War, you've got the Cold War, and those things directly impacted the US probably more than not any other country, but most other countries, if not any other country. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of negatives. I feel like these videos always focus on the positives, but there would have been a lot of negative sides.
Family life mirrored the times. The decade began innocently, but grew into unrest with assassinations, war, and rebellion.
I forgot the John F. Kennedy assassination as well. There's a lot that happened in this decade.
However, these years did bring considerable societal advances, with women's rights, civil rights, and also space exploration.
Oh yeah, obviously you got to the moon this decade as well.
By 1960, most American households had a television. There were only 3 channels, and usually only one TV set per household. People began to rely on TV news for the day's headlines. When something major happened on TV, it affected the whole country at the exact same time. The decade brought with it many notable television news stories that included the assassinations of JFK, Dr. Martin Luther King, and Robert Kennedy.
Oh my god, Martin Luther King this decade as well. God damn, this was a crazy 10-year span. And that's just touching the surface, and this is just for the US. Oh my days.
The civil rights struggles that were also documented were peaceful protests, violent retaliation, and landmark legislation. The Vietnam War and the counterculture movement also made headlines as the future became quite unclear.
It's like a very stressful decade for sure.
Aside from the important news stories of the decade, TVs were also used for entertainment. After dinner, families gathered around the TV, and the living room became a family theater. Some of the most popular shows on television during this time were the Beverly Hillbillies, Bonanza, Dick Van Dyke, The Andy Griffith Show, and Star Trek.
Star Trek was in the 60s. That's the one that I do know. I've never watched it, but I've seen it. Obviously, and it's a very popular series.
By the mid to late 1960s, more women were entering the workforce, and the makeup of the family had begun to change. This trend challenged the social order, where men were the breadwinners, and women managed the home and cared for the children. Road trips during this time were also popular. The interstate highway system was materializing from coast to coast. At the same time, automobiles were becoming a fixture in front of family homes. Gas was about 25 to 30 cents per gallon. With a AAA triptych map and a loaded-up station wagon, American families hit the road with a
25 cents per gallon. Wait, let me just hear that again.
AAA triptych map. Gas was about 25 to 30 cents per gallon.
Oh my god. I know inflation and all that, but geez, man.
American families hit the road with a possible stop at a Holiday Inn or a Howard Johnson restaurant. The 1960s was a great decade for sports. Baseball has never been more exciting than it was in 1961, when Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle raced to break Babe Ruth's record of 60 home runs in a single season. On October 1st, during the last game of the regular season, Roger Maris hit his 61st home run against the Boston Red Sox.
That was mentioned in the last video, wasn't it? That record, I remember that. Ali.
In 1964, Olympic gold medalist Cassius Clay, at 22 years old, defeated Sonny Liston in a technical knockout to win the heavyweight boxing championship of the world. A few weeks later, he would change his name to Muhammad Ali.
Damn. Cassius Clay, I do remember that was his name. God, that is just the name of greatness, isn't it? Cassius Clay.
The first Super Bowl featured the Green Bay Packers against the Kansas City Chiefs in 1967.
Wait, the first Super Bowl was in 67? I thought it would have went way further back than that. Maybe not way further, but it's crazy to think, because obviously that is actually, in the grand scheme, that is 56 years ago now. But the idea of, like, what would have happened before the Super Bowls? Would there have still been finals, but it just wasn't called the Super Bowl, or what? I don't know.
The Packers beat the Chiefs 35-10. The first Super Bowl halftime show featured not a popular...
I want to react to the first Super Bowl halftime show. I've never thought to do that, but I'm definitely going to do this 100%, because I've reacted to the Super Bowl halftime shows before. But the first one ever, he's going to explain what it was, but I guess it was this. But
singer, but rather two marching bands, a solo trumpet player, and the Bell Rocket Airman.
Damn. Chopper bike.
If you came of age in the 1960s, your best times were probably spent riding your banana bike with friends, listening to the Beatles, wearing go-go boots or bell-bottom jeans, watching American Bandstand, and learning to do the twist.
The twist. What is the twist?
As the decade came to a close, one event seemed to bring us all back together. Watching Apollo 11 rocket into space and then witnessing astronaut Neil Armstrong take his first steps on the moon was mesmerizing. But the entire decade was spent watching, waiting, and dreaming about a moon landing. Watching NASA put men on the moon was like seeing science fiction come to life, and it was the perfect ending to a memorable time in American history.
Imagine being there watching that live. That would have been crazy. I hope I can experience something like that. I don't know if it would be on Mars or just the moon again. I want to see like a person walking in space somewhere, man. That's what I want to see. Experience it at one time. I don't know when, but...
What are some of your favorite memories of growing up in the 1960s?
This is crazy golf. Where's the obstacles? It's just a direct shot. Scotty's driving. They look like good milkshakes, man. I can't lie. I mean, it's just a milkshake to be fair, but well, there we go. There we go. Yeah, the 1960s in colour. Let me know your thoughts. This is a cool little watch, man. I definitely saw that a lot of people went through things in this era. The generation from this decade definitely went through a lot. But yeah, my father was still watching a black and white television up until he died in 1984 at the age of 62. He said he wasn't interested in colour television. I know the 60s and 70s weren't perfect, but I'll go back in a heartbeat. Well, there we go. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. And yeah, if you want more of this, let me know in the comments. But until next time, like, subscribe.